What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So today we have an overview of the Inaros Rework. We got a dev workshop on this, and we actually know pretty much all we're going to know before launch. So we'll be going over some theory-crafted builds, what you should be, thinking about changing your Inaros builds to, and basically, will he be good? So let's get into it. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe videos, everything from farming guides, news videos, builds, all that kind of stuff. So you're in the right place for Warframe content. Also, I'll be live on stream later tonight with some Warframe grinding, and if you want to come stop by, feel free. All right, let's get right into it with the Inaros Dev Workshop. So first off, with the context here, Inaros basically doesn't even have abilities right now. In the gameplay footage in the background, I don't even think I cast a single ability as Inaros in a survival. I'm casting my helminth ability. That's the only ability Inaros really has right now, is his helminth. I cast the 4 right there just to see what it actually does right now. They're going to be reworking all this stuff. So as far as the dev workshop's concerned, we do have quite extensive information, just not every little minute number. So let's go over what they have. Hello, Tenno on DevStream 177. We outlined the plans for the upcoming Inaros Rework and the Dante Unbound update. Here's the dev workshop showing you what to go over. A reminder, when you do download this update, you will get 2 built forma for logging in, so you could use that in Inaros if you felt like it. Now, I do have Umbra forma on my Inaros. I don't really know if that's really going to be necessary, but hey, you know what? He is going to be having a little bit better of a use for strength going forward, so maybe it is worth it. All right, so they have a video from Pablo. We're going to actually show a clip from that Pablo video later, going over the new ultimate of Inaros, but let's just read what they have here. So Inaros still will heal from doing melee finishers on enemies. If you didn't know that, yeah, if you do a finisher on enemy as Inaros, it will heal you, and it can be a pretty good chunk of a heal too. So first ability of Inaros makes finishers called Desiccation. So you do pocket sand, then finisher, and you're going to get a big chunk of a heal. But here's what's actually getting changed here. Inaros' special bleed out state, where he could pull enemies into his sarcophagus and leech their health, has been replaced. That was, honestly, maybe the worst passive of the entire game. Maybe, potentially. When Inaros dies, he turns into a sand version of himself with normal movement and a melee attack. And a melee attack is going to be... We're going to have to make some assumptions off that. So you see this clip right here. He just gets a generic punch melee. It's not even an actual attack. So I don't think it will scale off of your melee mods, for example. It's you won't be able to mod it for attack speed. But let's just keep reading here. Land a certain number of hits on enemies before the timer runs out to respawn. But the more often you die, the more enemies you have to hit. So it looks like he's in an invulnerable state right here. He has a punching, generic punching, animation. There's no weapon here. It's just Inaros punching. So you can't mod it. You'll have to find enough enemies just to punch. So I'm assuming they balance this around how many times you're going to be dying. So they say if you die more, it takes more hits to respawn. So the timer's going to be limited. Your attack speed is limited, unless maybe Valkyr's attack or Warcry would work on this or something, or Wisp motes. But you have limited time. You have a certain amount of attack you have to get. They have balances around that. So I'm assuming after you die 3 or 4 times, it will be nearly impossible to revive unless you have every enemy grouped up and you slam attack, punch them all. So it's a lot better than his current passive, where it is basically scale. It's true damage doesn't even scale. It's 25 true damage or whatever per tick. It's so bad right now, and it also turns off last gasp. So here's one of my issues with this. So okay, this is definitely better than what we have right now. He's invincible. He can also revive himself, but it still turns off the last gasp operator ability, which basically is fight for your life mode. When you go down as the operator with Unairu Focus Tree, you can actually just use the operator amp to get kills. If you get enough operator amp kills, you come back from the dead. Now, if they're limiting how much I can actually, come back from the dead over and over again with Inaros when he has no shields, there might be an issue here where it's why am I not allowed to use Last Gasp again with this passive? It's the same with Sevagoth too, for me. Okay, well, Sevagoth's passive is going to one-shot enemies, cool, but the thing is, Sevagoth's ghost can also get killed as well, so hopefully it's not going to be a problem for most players, but I do envision some frustration from certain individuals where it's I just want to use Last Gasp, I unlocked all this focus stuff, why is his passive still removing Last Gasp? But either way, it's a big upgrade over what he has right now, so I'm not going to be complaining too much about it. Alright, moving on to the first ability being changed on Inaros. It's actually not getting changed that much. It's Desiccation, so the pocket sand. Largely unchanged, actually. Funny enough, this might be the ability you helminth off going forward because his other abilities are getting pretty big buffs. But yeah, this ability is largely unchanged, but we have certain issues with enemies not being vulnerable to finishers. It's been fixed. Now it should be more consistent. So certain enemies like MOAs, you have to do a finisher on a MOA from behind. They're also adding finishers for some of the Murmur enemies too. So this will just be a more consistent attack. This is also a Inaros helminth ability. So if you want to put this on other characters, it's not getting buffed really at all, but you can still do finishers on demand basically with other characters. It's a small conal blind, so it's not really the best hitbox either. It's just not really the best ability in the game. That's why it's the first ability and a helminth ability. Additionally, Desiccation is now a Inaros' Railjack ability. It was previously Devour. Devour has been removed from the game, so Devour will no longer exist. All right, here's what's replacing Devour, by the way. They're moving Sandstorm from the third ability of Inaros to the second ability of Inaros. Yes, so that means that if you want to, keep Sandstorm on your build, and this is actually going to be influenced by what I'm going to show you right now. You're going to have to change your helminth on Inaros a lot. So right now, looking at my build I was using in the footage, I've got the helminth ability on the second slot, because that's where Devour is right now, unfortunately. So once the patch goes through, this ability is being moved to this spot. So that means for me, for example, I have to move Roar from the 2 ability to like the 1 ability or something. So maybe you have to decide if you think Elemental, or if you think Sandstorm or Pocket Sand is more useful to you. Let me know what you guys think about Pocket Sand versus Sandstorm as far as helminth in the comments down below. I'm thinking Pocket Sand's getting removed going forward, though, because Sandstorm is getting some buffs. We'll go over those very soon here. All right, so as far as what's being changed with Sandstorm, though, as this is going to be an ability you potentially want to keep around, Devour has been removed entirely and replaced by an improved Sandstorm. So here's some changes. Inaros becomes a Sandstorm Whirlwind, now with faster animations and movement, so it feels less punishing. I will say, I was testing on Inaros a little bit before this video. The animations for Sandstorm feel pretty slow right now, but as you can see in this clip right here, looking a lot more snappy. So, honestly, I don't see any reason. Before you leave your comment down below, I think there's no real reason to keep Pocket Sand after this gets buffed, because this is looking really nice. Inaros is now invulnerable while in the Sandstorm. Sandstorm now has a duration instead of being a channel to power, so it will no longer drain energy per second while you're in it. Wow, really good. It will not block energy regeneration while you're in the Sandstorm mode. You can also still choose to end the power early if you'd like to. So if you didn't know this right now, because who actually uses Inaros' abilities? This ability has it's like a drain over time, and you can actually drain your energy really fast on this if you're not paying enough attention. So as far as how it works right now, it's going to drain 10 energy per second, and it costs 75 to cast. So going forward, it will just cost 75 to cast. It will have a duration, and it will be a lot faster. So look how long it takes me to get out of that. So that's a really clumsy animation. That's being, spruced up a little bit too. So really, Sandstorm's going to get some big buffs here, and I'm actually kind of feeling silly asking if you guys thought even that Desiccation would be better than this, because it's not even, we're not even done talking about all the buffs on it. So it will no longer block regeneration of energy. It will now, instead of throwing enemies all around the room, it will drag enemies beneath your feet, so you can use a ground finisher if you choose. So some things to keep in mind here. Also, Inaros will regen health per second for each enemy in the Sandstorm. Some things to keep in mind here. This ability has an augment called Elemental Sandstorm, which will make the Sandstorm use the status effects of your melee. So if we go look at it right here, Elemental Sandstorm. Sandstorm gains 50% increased ability range and has a 100% chance of inflicting a status effect based on the damage type of the mods on your melee weapon. So that's a lot. Also power strength is going to scale how much status chance this has. So power strength on Inaros might be a thing you might want to consider, especially for this ability, because it will become a lot more important, a lot more easy to use. So we've got Umbral mod set here, and we've got multi-augmented, so that'd be about 230% power strength, so about 230% status chance when it's fully stacked up. Now, of course, you could change this. If you're thinking the abilities of Inaros will be a lot more useful, you could take off a health mod here, take off a health mod there. If you don't want to have 10,000 health, there is going to be a thing on Inaros that will scale his damage with his health. So keep in mind that you might want to keep big health on Inaros. But yeah, there's going to be some more customization here for sure. Now, going over the rest of the stuff here, the next ability. Now, since they're removing Devour, they're going to split his current ultimate will be split in half. So currently, Inaros' ability for the Scarab Swarm on the 4th, it's just you have to drain his health and gives you some extra armor and stuff. It has an active no one really uses. But now here's what's happening. Inaros' 4th ability has been split into 2 different abilities that are easier to use and reflect its 2 main features. So this is his new 3rd ability. Scarab Shell can be changed, or can be charged up by spending health to give you armor. There is now a unique indicator on your HUD that shows the current charge of Scarab Shell. So it's the same thing as Inaros ulti right now. You drain your health to give yourself more armor, but you're going to have an actual new UI element to see what's actually going on with that. You can also you can charge Scarab Shell while moving around. The armor increase has been gone from 240 to 350 and also scales with ability strength. So that means with this, you'll be getting a big chunk of extra armor on Inaros if you do charge it up. And he has no shields, so that's going to be great, giving him some more armor. Probably almost 1,000 armor on this build. That will be giving you more DR on your health. Additionally, the augment for Scarab Swarm is called Negation Swarm. That is actually being removed from the game, and the status immunity that Negation Swarm provides is going to be built into the actual ability now. So as long as you have Scarab Swarm up, you will be status immune, as it will drain a small chunk of your Scarab armor to prevent a negative status effect. So very nice stuff there. They're removing Negation Swarm, but they're actually not entirely. They call it retired here, but they're actually just replacing Negation Swarm with a different effect. There's a new Negation Swarm that we'll talk about down below. So, new ability, Scarab Shell, you're going to have to probably keep that if you want to be getting status immunity and armor. It will be a worthy attack to keep around. His new ulti is the one we're going to have a clip of. This is the one that might actually make Inaros really good. It's called Scarab Swarm. Scarab Swarm no longer requires you to charge up the ability by investing health. Right now, in the current version of the game, you have to actually drain your health to get enough ammo to use this. It's being changed. You can just cast this whenever you want to. The new version, on cast, enemies in a cone are attacked by scarabs that do 1/10 of Inaros' maximum health as corrosive damage per second. Okay, that might sound pretty bad. It's per second, so once every second it ticks corrosive. We have a clip of Pablo using this attack on the dev build right here. It is actually better than it sounds in that description. I have it at 0.5 speed so you can actually see what's happening. So this is the initial Scarab Swarm display. So I slowed it down, so as you see right there, there's 3 ticks per second it looks like. These are corrosive ticks, so the damage is corrosive, and it will proc corrosive. So in about 3 seconds, this enemy right here had 9 corrosive procs on them. Now, I know that's not as fast as Saren, but we're talking about Inaros here right now. He's a tank frame. He's not like a really DPS nuker frame. But this might be, some things that could make him a little bit closer to that. So in about 3 seconds, 9 corrosive procs on the enemy. When the enemies die affected by this Scarab Swarm, they will create a Sandcat. And the damage of this attack is scaling with his health. So with a 10,000 health Inaros, 1,000 damage per tick. Now, of course, that is before things like, viral procs and, damage buffs and all that are applied. So you can actually make this thing pump out some serious, or maybe not serious, some okay-ish damage. We're talking about probably 2,000, 3,000 damage per tick through his abilities. And of course, this is removing enemy armor. It's also stunning them too. And of course, it won't stun them. It won't stun them through Overguard. But if you are looking for, some more utility so it's basically CC and armor strip is what I call it. It has some damage, but these damage numbers are not going to be really killing actual Steel Path enemies. Maybe some Steel Path butchers, but definitely not anything that's like an actual threat. You're not going to be killing Eximus on the Steel Path with the sand cats of the Scarab Swarm. But if you do want to be using this for damage, what would you maybe do? Now, as far as what I'd recommend to you, I'm thinking that, first off, let's start off with the green shards on Inaros. Let's finish reading this first, though. Okay, so just finishing off the Dev Workshop. Enemies that die affected by the Scarab Swarm will turn to a Swarm Cat, maximum of 3 cats, but you can have 5 cats to use the Desiccation's Curse Augment. Yeah, Desiccation's Curse Augment for Inaros is being changed to give you more cats. Additionally, these cats can move and attack independently, and their attacks can cause additional enemies to be afflicted by the swarm. So you're gonna have CC and armor strip all over the place, or rather corrosive procs all over the place, and it's gonna be pretty decent, I think. As far as the Inaros augment changes, before we move on to the actual build crafting here, Desiccation's Curse. Instead of making a sand copy of the former self, the Sandcats are gonna be increasing on their target. They become a sand... Okay, so if you do a finisher on enemy, the negation or Desiccation's Curse will make a sand cat out of them. You also get an increased sand cat limit of from 3 to 5. Elemental Sandstorm has no changes, so we'll talk about that a little bit here too. And the Negation Swarm has been replaced by Negation Armor. When Inaros takes fatal damage, consume the Scarab Shell to heal and briefly become invincible. Inaros is affected by a strong bleed effect at the end of the effect. So that's interesting, as you can easily bypass slash procs lots of ways in this game. So that's going to be the Dev Workshop. Now let's talk about some build crafting and what you should maybe be looking out for Inaros. Okay, so starting off with the first thing. His Sandcats are going to be doing corrosive procs quite easily. Now, it looked like about like 3 to 4 procs per second, and it will likely have a status chance as well. So I'm not guaranteeing it to be a full armor strip instantly. But let's just start off right off the bat with green shards and Inaros, increasing the maximum corrosive stacks by 2. With 2 of these, you'll have 14 procs on enemies, and that will mean they'll be fully armor stripped with just your Sandcats and your corrosive. So that's a good start. Now, moving on, the Sandcat's damage is going to scale with your maximum health. So with a 10,000 health, Inaros build, 1,000 damage per tick before, like debuffs and all that are applied. So let's go and put on Roar, increasing the damage of the Sandcats and all abilities by 53% with this current build, before multi-augmented, of course. Now the Sandcats are doing about like 1,500, 1,600 damage. That alone will be, hopefully buffing them up to at least soften the enemies up. Additionally, we are going to be having some big HP on this build, and of course the augments are going to be versatile. I'm going to probably go with Desiccation's Curse to get 5 Sandcats, so I'm going to have the entire room CC'd and armor stripped. Additionally, with Roar, maybe they can actually kill some stuff on their own. Everything else is just my old Inaros build to be more tanky, but that's where I think versatility will come into play. Depending on what you want to be running here, Inaros' abilities will be more useful for sure. So let's say that the range of his Sandstorm is what you want to mod for. You can just put on Overextended. Now the range of the Sandstorm has been increased. You can even go further on the Sandstorm build with Elemental Sandstorm. We have a 18-meter radius Sandstorm. Remember, these guys are all going to get pulled into one spot and make it really easy to kill them. So if you are going for an Elemental Sandstorm setup, you might want to go for a little bit more range. Of course, our health did get reduced, so our cats only do 950 damage per tick now. And I like to have 10,000 health in Inaros, but let's just keep talking about this as we discuss. So that's great. Now, what you can do with Elemental Sandstorm is run a weapon that has really good procs on it. The cost assist has built-in corrosive, and it will not be replaced by anything else. So we have corrosive, viral, electric, and impact puncture slash. As far as condition overload is concerned, that's a lot of procs, and it's not even fully modded out right now. So if you want to get lots and lots of procs on the enemies, that can be a great way to do it. Now, that status chance does scale with power strength too, so some power strength on Inaros might be nice going forward. Additionally, if you wanted to make the Sandcats actually maybe kill something, you could take those 2 green shards, but also throw on some other green shards for ability damage increase on corrosive affected enemies. I don't think that will be really strong enough. It's just going to be another like mini Roar basically, but I'm just trying to theorycraft what this actually could be. So enemies will be all fully armor stripped. You're going to have them all procced up, hopefully with a bunch of stuff, and you're going to have Sandcats getting all the aggro off your back. So I think there will be a potential for a lot of different builds here. The ones I'm just going to probably go for a normal tank build in Inaros though and see how it works out. I'm not expecting to like really be modding for like duration or like for range really. I think if you are going to mod for range, Elemental Sandstorm should be enough for you. I'm just thinking Roar, honestly. A Roar nuker build. He won't be as good as Saren. He'll still be a weapons platform to an extent. But yeah, I think he'll just be a lot better. That's the thing. It's like he's going from not having any abilities right now to actually having abilities that might be remotely worth casting. So let me know what you guys think about the Inaros rework in the comments down below. I do think that, honestly, I'm going to have to replace all my helminths on Inaros. So I'm going to have to go over every single build and like be like, okay, well, now that Devour is gone, I'm not replacing... Sandstorm is getting a big buff, so I'm going to go and replace... I'm going to move Roar to Desiccation. I'm going to move Tharo Strike to Desiccation. Like, it's going to be redoing every helminth, unfortunately. I don't even use this build. Elemental Ward for more HP. That could also be a thing, too, to make your Sandcats have more damage. So we cast Elemental Ward. We go to about 1,200 health, so another 200 Sandcat damage per tick. That's going to have to get moved to Desiccation, though. So lots of changes for sure. Hopefully it's enough to make Inaros actually feel fun to play, because I'm not really thinking he'll be fun to play after this, but maybe. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I appreciate all the support, and yeah, take it easy. Peace.